right now.
So hold on, I'm trying. I'm seeing what I can do here. Hold on. I don't know. Did I? I did.
Usually on something like that,
Oh,
you know, hold the control key and use your rollerball on your mouse.
There.
Okay, we're good to go.
Very good. Well, folks, welcome to this City of River Falls Utility Advisory Board meeting for May 3rd, 2021. Call this meeting to order, and we'll start with a roll call.
Bernie, Morset,
Here.
Richter,
Here.
Stafford,
Here.
Swanson, Wells Mangold.
Here.
Okay, thank you.
John,
Go ahead.
Did you call me? Did you call my name?
Oh
This is
my
Tim.
gosh. Tim, I'm so sorry. Tim, are you here?
Here.
Sorry.
Good job, Tim. All right. John, I would assume we have no public comment given the nature of tonight's meeting. Is that
That's
correct?
That's correct.
Thank
There's
you.
no one here.
Yep. All right. I want to make sure we follow protocol though. So we are really here to look at our new business, or item number 2, resolution advising the City Council of award of contract for South Main Lift abandonment and casing installations. Do we have Ron or not? Is this
Ron
Kevin?
is on tonight as well. So
Yep.
Okay.
I was going to give a
Ron
little
just-
bit of I was just going to give a little bit of background, Patrick, and then let Ron get into the weeds if we need to go there.
Sounds great.
Lene, can you share that map, please? You're muted. So I'll just start talking about it. So, well, it'd be better if we see the maps and we can talk about location. So South Main Lift Station is on Main Street, just south of Cemetery Road. And this is a lift station that, as the memo said, was installed in 1983. Really, it became obsolete in about 2005. And just now we're getting to the point, well, we've been talking about it for a few years to remove it at some point. But now because Highway 29 is going to be redone this year through a state of Wisconsin highway project. If you could make that bigger, Lene, that'd be great. Mark is saying. The state, that's perfect. The state of Wisconsin is going to be redoing Highway 29. We thought this was a really good opportunity now to take out the South Main Lift Station and also put some water casing and sewer casings in across the road for future developments. We went out to public bid on that. The bids came in, as you saw in your memo, fairly aggressive award winner to Total Excavating for a total of $151,734. Compared to the bidder number 2 was $224, and bidder number 3 was $403. So we were pretty happy with the bids that came in. The casings are really, that sewer casing, we had some people inquiring. See the circle down in the lower right corner? That's Comforts a Home down there. Kitty corner to that, we had some folks inquiring about potential development there. And in order to serve that, we're going to have to get underneath Highway 29. And to do that now will be about 1/3 of the cost of doing it later. So we figured it'd be good to get that casing in there now. And that's a reimbursable event should that ever develop by a developer. So that's what's going in. Remove South Main Lift. Put a water casing in for future development and a sewer casing in for future development underneath Highway 29. Ron, do you want to add to anything to that I'm missing that you think is important?
No, I think you pretty well covered it.
Kevin, can I just clarify something? And I apologize. I didn't spend a lot of time with this beforehand, and I should have. In there, the first sentence is 1983, the South Main Lift Station was installed to primarily serve the Woodridge development. I think you mean the Birchcliff development. Woodridge is on the north side off of Powell Avenue.
Yeah, I was going to say, was there two Woodridges? It's just, that's not called Woodridge right here either, huh? That's Birchcliff?
It,
Birchcliff, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, on our mapping system, yeah, it's listed as a Woodridge subdivision, that area right around that lift station. So I don't know
Really?
where it ever came from. Yeah, it is actually on our GIS system.
Okay.
It actually
Okay.
is. It was originally called the Woodridge Lift Station, but it just kind of took on South Main Lift because that's what the guys called it. So we kind of went with that over the years. But originally, if you look when it was put in, it was called the Woodridge Lift Station.
All
But
right.
to your
I
point,
stand
but to your point,
corrected.
Scott, there is a Woodridge, but off of the highway by the
Oh, yeah.
Powell Avenue now. Thank you.
By our defective bridge. Yeah.
By the bridge. I was going to say by the bridge, but then I thought no one's going to know what I'm talking about. But Powell Avenue Bridge.
Yeah. Okay. I stand corrected. It'll be interesting to see if anybody in the council says anything about that. Never mind. Go ahead.
That's all I have, Patrick, and Ron doesn't have anything to add. So that's the gist of the projects. And again, we're a little delayed. There was we had a little issue with the low bidder, but we got that all worked out and we're ready to go. They're going to do it according to contract. That's accurate, isn't it, Ron?
Correct. Yeah.
Can I have read through this, but for the sake of any viewers and Scott, I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, but just so we're certain we're clear on the details, can I ask Ron if you just review the basics of what we're looking at here in
Okay.
2-minute form?
Yeah. So yeah, the main project, what started it all was a South Main lift station to abandon that. Because back when Spring Creek Lift was put in, it was put in at a deep enough elevation that it would allow for gravity flow of all that sewer. So that line was actually stubbed out on the west side of 29, brought up to the road, not quite to the road, but for future. And right now, I guess is the future. We're looking at connecting that. So we'll drop from 5 lift stations to 4 lift stations, which it's nice to get rid of lift stations. They're kind of the weak link in the system. You have pumps that can fail. Gravity's pretty fail safe. And then the water casing, we're actually connecting the 2 sides of the road. It connects a 6-inch on the east side to the newer Sterling or Spring Creek development. And that'll improve reliability. It'll give us another source of water, that crossing there. So if anything ever did happen, anything like main breaks, anything like that, it just gives you more options. And like Kevin said, the sewer casing was actually it was kind of brought up by development because of that parcel of land over there that there's been some interest in. So as Kevin said, it's about 1/3 of the cost. Because if we do it after the road is installed, we're looking at, the bore jack method, which you'd have to dig a sump on each side of the road and then actually drill through that rock under that road. So that gets pretty expensive.
An estimate for that of 158,000, I believe, in today's dollars, Ron.
Right, in today's dollars, correct.
We're doing it for 44 today.
So that crossing, Ron, is kind of in the Haskins property. Is that correct?
That's what it's intended for, yes. But it could serve quite a bit of that east side.
Yeah. So that's not in the city today. So they're amenable to us crossing through there.
And as far as what development tells me, yes.
Okay. I mean, I just don't want to end up with another North Interceptor situation where we have challenges with the landowner that last 20 years. So
it sounds like the owners of that property are real excited to have it done. I mean, we'll be in state right away at this point. So I mean, right now it's not an issue. So
okay.
And again, Mr. Morissette, talking to community development, they've already had a conversation with a property owner that's interested in developing and let them know that we would be reimbursed the $45,000 for this through their development costs.
Yeah, I've heard rumblings about that development. So, yep. Okay.
Where does the city end on that end of town? Are we just half a block away, essentially?
That intersection, the comforts of home is in the city.
It is in the city. Okay.
We serve
Got it.
comforts at home, yes.
If your
Okay.
question, Patrick, is on the, so the map is actually, north is on the left side of the page and south is on the right side of the page.
Yep.
It should be rotated maybe.
Yep. No,
If
I
you
see
see
where it
that,
is.
if you see on that, on the east side of the road, you can kind of see the faint line sort of on the edge of the red box. It says water casing. If you take the left edge of that water casing box and just drop it straight down to 29, that's essentially the corporate boundaries of the city today.
Okay. Got it.
On that side.
Pretty close to being out there. Okay. Thank you. Any questions or discussion on the matter?
Couple of questions. I always appreciate Ron's experience, and this what we were sent out seemed very thorough. Ron's already asked 2 of my 4 questions by his quick introduction there of the what's going on. One thing that I was just curious of, Ron, is when you abandon a lift station, that lift station, I actually went down there today at lunchtime just to see where it was right next to that residence, and it seemed like there was kind of some open area around it. What does that entail? Will it still be kind of a collector, and where we see the new gravity crossing, does that kind of go around that house? Just describe, if you would, what abandoning a lift basin would be like.
Yeah, so if you know that lift station, like you said, sits on the edge of that, kind of like in a cul-de-sac back there. And right now, everything comes in. Well, there's actually a couple lines coming in. Some come from behind that house, and some come right down the road. What we'll do, what we have to do, there's a short section of gravity we actually have to change the pitch on. So everything that from where our crossing is to the lift station is going to have to be pitched the other direction to get it to run gravity. Where that lift is right now, that's a metal can that'll all be taken out of the ground. There'll be a manhole set there. And like I said, we'll repitch the sewer and everything will run to the west at that point. And it'll come around the back of that house you were talking about and loop back out to 29 and then cross the road.
That was my other question, was when you speak about redundancy of water mains, I don't know a lot about that. Could you speak a little? Are we just coming into neighborhood from a couple different directions in case you can shut the main off if you got a blowout somewhere? If you could just talk about that a little bit.
Right, and that's basically it. Yeah, if you say you have a break from one direction, the more directions you're feeding water from, the less shutoffs you're going to have if you do have a break along any section. The other thing it does is it improves water quality, keeping water circulated, and it also it somewhat improves fire flow because you're drawing water from more than one area. So.
Redundancy is a big positive, especially on the day when you have to shut off 170 people because it's a radial feed, but because we have redundancy, you can limit it to 15, something, right? I mean.
So the city water goes all the way out to Comforts? Is that as far as it goes right now?
Yes, yeah, that's where the end of it is on the west side. On the east side, it's just where Scott was talking about there, where that water main casing is, just to the when you're looking at that, to the left of that is where the water ends on the east side.
Okay, so Wisconsin, the entire Wisconsin street is part of the city and the water main. So it's just that block of the property that Haskins owns. They're
Right.
not in the city limits. Okay, gotcha. I'm good. Thank you very much, Ron.
I was wondering, given the wide variation in the bids, if there's any qualitative differences in what they were promising, or if really the contracts look the same and one just comes in at an obviously low number, and why wouldn't we take it kind of a situation. Is there any differences worth speaking of?
Not really between the two low bids. Everything is pretty much the same on that high bid. It looks like they maybe made a mistake and didn't read the spec correctly because they put all kinds of money in for traffic control. And the way the spec was wrote, it said that it wasn't necessary. The state's going to have the road shut down, be responsible for traffic control. So that kind of explains some of that as to why that bid was so high. And then then the casings, there was somewhat of a difference there, but yeah, it's that low bid. I mean, it has everything included we need. There's nothing in there that would cause any question or something they missed because we did go through it. So like Kevin said last time, they had said, well, at first they weren't going to be able to, they had maybe kind of underestimated something, but then they came back after we reviewed it and said, no, we're good. We'll honor that price. So that's where we're at today.
Very good. Anything else, folks? All right. Then I will be looking for a motion at this time.
Come on, people. I'll do it. Resolution awarding city council, resolution advising city council of award of contractor for South Main lift abandonment and casing installation. I make a motion
Kellen
to
and I
approve it.
second.
All right. Scott and Kellen, thank you. All right. All right. All in favor of adopting the resolution, please say aye at this time.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Very good. All opposed? Same sign. Hearing none, we are unanimous. We have a quorum. We're good. There you go. We have passed a resolution for the bid. So you can proceed, Ron.
All right. Thank you.
So thanks for.
Well, not until the city council does
Well,
it, but.
Correct. Yes. Thank you, Scott. That's correct. So
It's a
More
step
you'll see this
closer.
next week.
yeah, it's a step closer. That is correct.
Yeah.
So, okay. I'm gonna, because we're short and I mean, we intended to be short, but I'm still gonna ask the question, any announcements or points of information to be shared before we adjourn?
No, other than the FERC amendment to remove Powell Falls from our original FERC license. That's probably going to be going public in a couple days, and that'll be out for a 30-day comment period. So you'll see that. There's no surprises in there. Everything we've talked about. So
Okay.
that's I'm just finishing up some final language with the consultant on that right now. But hey, this week is drinking water week. You know, we have all these Hallmark holidays, but this week is drinking water week. So I say, make a note of that. Can't keep track of them anymore, but it is drinking water week. And I tell you, Ron and his guys do a fantastic job. I guess they'll give a little bit of a commercial. And I always tell them, I mean, there's 4 or 5 of those guys that are responsible for the safe drinking water in our community every day. That's what they do. I mean, they're responsible for keeping our community alive. It's a big job, and they're out every day testing water, checking wells, checking towers. It's a big deal, and they do it every day, and they're committed to it. So hats off to Ron and his folks for keeping our drinking water safe and clean.
Yep. Ron, in the last weeks, I put out your slide from the last meeting about the COVID testing in the wastewater. I just put it out on one of the River Falls community kind of Facebook pages and got a reasonable amount of response to that, just saying, wow, that's amazing. So, some of the things you do might seem mundane at times, but in the end, boy, we appreciate it. So, and sometimes it's even amazing. So thanks for what you do.
Thank you.
So,
Kevin, I was just wondering about seating for the Powell Falls area. Has that been done?
We got it about a third done, and I was talking to Ron about that again. That's how Ron's internet just kind of maybe faded out there. But we were going to try to get a tractor out there again when it firmed up a little bit, but it's about a third done. You'll see some out there. I see Ron's internet just kind of went out. There you are, Ron. So are you guys going to try to attempt to get out on the lakes again, Ron, and seed that? Is that the goal?
Yeah, I think my internet's going. Can you hear me yet?
Yeah, we can
You're
hear
good.
you.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's what, it might, this week might be doable. Might be able to get our side of it done on the wastewater side. I'll have to run down. I didn't get down there today, but it hasn't rained for a while now, so it should be starting to firm up. It's kind of funny ground down there. It's real spongy, so it's hard to drive anything on it.
All right.
Yeah, that's good. But, I think we've got a little bit of a window of dry weather here. It'd be great to get something established there, and it wouldn't be quite so devastating if we did get a heavy rain.
It's
Right,
kind of the
yeah.
goal, Tim. So we are trying to get that done.
Right.
And if we can't get a tractor down there, even talked about just walking that, get a walk behind and spend an afternoon and walk it.
Yeah, given all the attention, that wouldn't be a bad idea. It'd probably be time well spent.
And a little exercise. So Patrick, we're scheduled to meet again in 2 weeks. We don't have any resolutions for that meeting. Since we met here 2 weeks we met twice out of the last 2 weeks. Is it okay if we just postpone till the June meeting then? That'd be okay.
I mean,
That's
as
okay
long
with this group?
that's fine by me. So, any major things coming up related to the dams between now and that June meeting?
No, because we'll be right in the middle of our 30-day comment period here on the 17th meeting, so there won't be anything to report. But by the June meeting, we'll have some reporting back to
Okay.
you.
Then that seems to fit.
Okay.
So, very good. On that note, it seems short, but we knew this was coming, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move adjournment.
Matt, chime
Second
in.
on, somebody can do it. I know you can.
I just like to
I'll
listen to
second
Scott,
the
so
motion.
I just
Yeah.
patient.
There you go.
Not because I said so. Not because I said so.
No, I wanted to be second. First.
There you go. I wanted it to be abundantly clear you were in fact here. So
Thank
very
you.
good. Yep. All right. Very good. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. So I will adjourn our meeting for the night. Well done. We got our work done, and I wish you all a great night. So
Great.
Thanks, everyone.
Hey, team, thank you
Yeah.
very much. Appreciate you taking the time tonight to get that approved. Appreciate it.
okay. Take care, everybody.
All right.
Take care,
Have a
everyone.
good night.
Thanks. Bye.
Have a great night.